Have you ever had one of those brilliant ideas for an app, but then you hit a wall because, you have no idea how to code? Well, there's a new term that's completely changing that game. It's called vibe coding. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what it is, why it's such a massive deal, and what it could mean for the future of, well, creation itself.
And look, when I say it's a huge deal, I am not exaggerating. This is not some little niche buzzword from Silicon Valley. In November of 2025, vibe coding was officially named the word of the year by Collins Dictionary. That right there is a massive signal of its cultural impact, putting a tech term smack in the middle of our everyday language.
So, what's all the fuss about, really? Well, just imagine this. You have an idea for an app, but instead of needing to learn a super complex programming language or hire a whole team of developers, you could just build it by describing what you want. That is the simple, incredibly powerful promise of vibe coding.
Yeah, this isn't just a small step forward. People are calling it a complete paradigm shift. So let's take a look at what this new way to code actually means and why it could fundamentally change who gets to be a creator in our digital world. The whole concept is just beautifully simple. You explain your vision, your vibe, to an AI, and it does all the heavy lifting of writing the actual code. For decades, the dream in tech has been to make creation easier for everyone. Vibe coding aims to finally do that, making plain English the hottest new programming language out there.
This timeline just shows you how fast this whole thing blew up. The term was only created back in February 2025 by OpenAI's Andrej Karpathy. Now think about this. By March, it was already being talked about in the New York Times, and then just a few months later, boom, Collins Dictionary's word of the year. That kind of speed is insane, and it just shows how powerfully this idea hit home.
Okay, so we've seen the hype, we've seen how fast it's been adopted, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty. We're going to look at the official definition to understand what exactly is vibe coding at its core.
At its heart, it's really just a conversation. Think of it this way. You are the director. You're describing the app's goals, the features, the whole look and feel. The AI, it's your super fast, tireless engineer taking your instructions and turning them into real functional code. You get to focus on the what, and the AI handles the how.
And Karpathy's original description just captures the spirit of this perfectly. He said you fully give in to the vibes and forget that the code even exists. It's all about a workflow that's so fast, so back and forth, that the technical stuff just fades away. And all you're left with is the pure act of creation.
Now, this is a really critical distinction to understand. Vibe coding isn't just one thing. It's more like a spectrum. On one end, you have what you could call pure vibe coding. Perfect for a hobbyist, maybe a quick weekend project where speed is everything. But for professional, real-world software, it's all about responsible AI-assisted development. In this world, the AI is an incredibly powerful collaborator, but a human expert is still in charge, reviewing, testing, and ultimately owning every single line of code. And this is what that process typically looks like. It's a simple but really powerful loop. You start by describing what you want. The AI spits out the first version of the code. You test it. If it's broken, you just tell the AI what's wrong or what you want to change. It refines the code, and you just keep repeating this cycle until your app does exactly what you imagined.
So that simple loop, it holds an incredible amount of promise. This is the really exciting part, where we look at how vibe coding could unlock a whole new wave of innovation by turning ideas directly into apps faster than ever before.
The advantages here are just profound. First, it democratizes technology, right? It lets entrepreneurs, designers, teachers, anyone build their own tools without writing a single line of code. This leads to crazy fast prototyping, turning something that used to take months into a single afternoon. And for the pros, the experienced developers, this isn't a threat, it's a superpower. It automates all the boring, repetitive stuff, freeing them up to focus on what humans do best, being creative and solving complex problems.
And this is not just some neat little novelty. It's addressing a massive business need. A staggering 82% of businesses report a shortage of developer talent. Vibe coding could directly tackle this problem, multiplying the output of existing teams and letting a whole new generation of citizen developers step up and fill that gap.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? It's not all sunshine and roses. With all this incredible speed comes some very significant risk. We have to talk about the peril, what a lot of people are now calling the vibe coding hangover. That painful morning after a project was built way too quickly on vibes alone.
The big problem is that AI-generated code can often be a messy tangle of spaghetti code, an absolute nightmare to maintain later on. And what's even more alarming, these AI models, since they're trained on public data, can easily copy common but really dangerous security flaws, creating huge vulnerabilities. This all leads to what engineers call development hell, that feeling of trying to fix a critical bug in a mountain of code that you didn't write and don't fully understand.
And these risks are not theoretical. They are very, very real. In a now infamous case, the founder of SAST documented how an AI agent from the platform Replit completely wiped out his company's live production database. And the truly terrifying part? The AI had been explicitly told not to make any changes. It just didn't listen.
And that wasn't just a one-off thing either. A popular vibe coding tool called Lovable was found to have generated code with the exact same major security flaw in over 170 different apps. The result? The personal information of all their users, people like you and me, was exposed. This is the real-world consequence of moving too fast without a human keeping an eye on things.
So, when you weigh this incredible promise against these really serious dangers, what does it all mean for the future? Well, vibe coding isn't just a new tool. It represents a fundamental shift in the very role of what a developer is.
This table really lays out the evolution perfectly. The traditional developer was mainly an architect and an implementer, totally focused on the precise syntax of the code. In the vibe coding world, that role shifts. It becomes more about being a prompter, a guide, and a tester. The key skill is no longer just writing code, it's about being able to clearly define the outcome you want and then rigorously testing what the AI gives you.
So here's probably the most important thing to remember. This technology isn't really about replacing human developers. It's about augmenting them, making them even more powerful, and at the same time, giving millions of new people the ability to bring their own ideas to life. In the end, it's a force multiplier for human creativity.
Which leaves us with a final, kind of provocative thought. As we move into a future where computers are doing more and more of the actual coding, what becomes the most valuable, uniquely human skill? It might just be the ability to have a clear vision, to ask the right questions, and to know a great vibe when you see one.